Morning, everybody. Good evening to those of us joining on the Asia Pacific side. We're just going to wait another few moments while a few more folks are joining us, and then we'll start our information session. Excellent. Well, let's get started. Again, thanks everyone for joining. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that our Protein Industries Canada, our head office is located in Regina, Saskatchewan, on Treaty 4 territory, the original lands of the Cree, Ojibwa, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. I myself, I'm speaking from you today from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I acknowledge that's part of the unceded traditional Coast Salish lands. Here at PIC, we respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all our Indigenous peoples across this land, and Protein Industries Canada has and will continue to honor the commitments of self-determination and sovereignty that we have made to Indigenous nations and people. Thank you to everyone today who has invested their time to attend our information session. Myself, I'm James Street, Director of Business Development here at Protein Industries Canada, and we're joined today by Mehmet Tulbek, President of the Saskatchewan Food Industry Development Centre, Tuki Wei, Strategic Project Manager at Nurasa, Laurent Brigel, Corporate Development Director at Nurasa, and Laura Lima, Program Manager at Protein Industries Canada. Quick little bit of housekeeping. We do have a Q&A tab as part of the Teams function today, so you'll see that on the navigation bar at the top. So if you want to get that ready and open that up, we'll be moderating some Q&A toward the end, but go ahead and start populating questions and as they come up. So today marks an important milestone in months of engagement and exploring the potential to connect the Canadian and Singaporean and broader Asia-Pacific ecosystems when it comes to agri-food innovation. This is the beginning of a path to unlocking success and prosperity for both of these regions. To help companies across Canada seize this potential, Protein Industries Canada, in partnership with Singapore's Nurasa, recently launched the Asia Pacific Market Entry Program. This initiative represents a major opportunity for Canadian companies to diversify their exports and scale globally into a large and very important market. By offering supports that are right-sized for your category and capacity, this program will accelerate market access and enable Canada's innovative agri-food companies in the plant-based space to reach their full potential. Today in this webinar, we're going to discuss the benefits of expanding into the Asia-Pacific market, how the new Asia-Pacific Market Entry Program works, how it can help prepare Canadian plant-based companies to seize the market potential. So we'll start off with introducing Mehmet Tulbek, and I'll stop sharing my screen and Mehmet can share his, and he's going to be the next speaker on today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. It's been a pleasure speaking at the Asia Pacific Entry Program event. Again, my name is Mehmet Tulbek on behalf of the Food Center. I'll be presenting about our organization and how our overall Canadian food innovations can impact the overall agri-food transformation in the Asia Pacific space. So just a couple of slides introducing our organization. The Food Center is established as a not-for-profit contract research, contract manufacturing, incubation, and innovation organization back in 1997 to support the overall several services for the growing agri-food sector. We are in Saskatchewan, and our main focus is local crop and meat utilization, agri-food transformation, in particular on plant-based food ingredients, biomass, and upcycled ingredients. We have over 60 full-time employees supporting the agri-food industry with different backgrounds, experiences, expertise, and specialized skills. And over the last 20 years, we helped produce over 1,300 food products and ingredients developed and manufactured at the food center. Our goal is to expand and drive the innovation, entrepreneurial support, and ecosystem development, in particular on Saskatchewan and Canadian inputs, developing and processes for agri-food products and driving the agri-food transformation, helping startups to SMEs, to large companies, to multinationals, Fortune 500s, depending on their needs. So we have global clients all over the region, supporting companies, and main interest to overall the Saskatchewan food ingredients and different products, and overall agri-food transformation landscape in Canada. We have 3 facilities. Our pilot plant, our Agri-Food Innovation Center, primarily has 2 certified food processing facilities, and our certified advanced food ingredient center is primarily focused on as a CRO and CMO, focusing on submerged and solid state fermentation programs with several different certification systems. These facilities can help the companies to manufacture their products, provide daily rentals, or different type of long-term, short-term incubation suites as well. We have several different programs, total offering 12 different programs, coming from product development to manufacturing, to fermentation, to female entrepreneurship support, to engineering process authority services, to food safety training, pathfinding services, extrusion, snack food manufacturing, and so forth. So these are some of the programs that we highlight here, and in particular, depending on the needs of our clients. So I like to talk about on the second part, primarily why Canadian food innovations and why they matter for the Asia Pacific region. So there are 6 main points that I like to talk about, and these are really the important areas that how we can basically partner with Asia Pacific region, the companies, and how we can utilize our knowledge and the base from food ingredient manufacturing or different type of support, providing that support to the region and exporting our products or developing collaborations, co-creations, or new partnerships in the region. So number 1 is primarily our raw material and ingredient diversity and processing and innovation expertise. When you look at the North American production landscape, especially in the crops, we are the specialty crop producer in the region. So especially in Western Canada, we are producing cereals, we are producing pulses and oil seeds, from flax to peas, lentils, fava beans, chickpeas, canola, mustard, winter wheat, spring wheat, durum wheat, winter hardy berries, from Saskatoon berries, and all the different products, and the manufacturing and the upcycling potential of these products with their different byproducts. We have a range of ingredients that we can support the overall manufacturing and the innovation landscape that may be needed in the Asia Pacific marketplace. So that's really one of our unique advantages, especially in North America, considering the change in the United States with a lot of soybean and corn production in the region. So we are really the experts, and especially on these range of raw materials with the diversity and the processing. Second point is really the high quality as a safe and a trusted supply, because Canada provides a very strict and strong food safety standards, a traceability system, and quality assurance programs for Asia Pacific region. Especially on the commodity side, we have strong programs, and we can really convert that information into knowledge, into the ingredients, with all the export-ready certifications from HACCP to CFIA, Halal, Kosher, Clean Label, and additional programs, with the constant training and support to the manufacturing industry, to the agri-food transformation industry for Canada. So the products that we manufacture there at the highest standards that can be utilized in Singapore and in the whole Asia Pacific region. The third point is primarily our expertise and the overall development of the plant-based alternative protein and ingredient manufacturing industry, with the overall installation of the Proteinindustries Canada about 6-7 years ago, and the overall growth of the plant protein manufacturing industry. These products are being exported all over the world. In particular for Asia Pacific, the demand for sustainable protein is growing due to overall population growth, urbanization, shifting diets, and changing demographics, interest by the consumers. And Canadian innovations can provide the base for these products, especially as an ingredient source, whether it's a pea, lentil, fava bean blends, canola proteins, or different type of plant-based ingredients, providing healthier and environmentally friendly protein sources. And in addition, as the overall growth in the precision fermentation cellular agriculture, some of the research and innovation conducted in Canada, some of the startups and the new partnerships can be appealing to markets, especially in particular like Singapore, which can actively support the alternative protein adoption in the region. So these are really some of the important factors that why the Canadian food innovations can be really helpful for the Asia Pacific region. When we come to the fourth one, it's the sustainability, upcycling, and the clean label offerings. Sustainability is increasingly valued in Asia Pacific markets, especially in premium food segments. And the Canadian food innovations, especially in upcycled ingredients, whether through pulses, grains, fruit, vegetable processing byproducts, whether through pulps or different pomaces or different ingredients can be transformed into different applications, they can provide all these clean label formulations for the Asia Pacific demand for different eco-conscious or upcycled type of ingredients, which we can create more collaboration and partnership in the region. The fifth one, Canada is home to, and historically it's been a home to so many different food products, like from poutine to Nanaimo bars with different type of pizzas and pancakes. Like we are the innovators of these different products. So when we look at the overall innovation coming from Canada with maple leaf or different type of crackers or cookies or different bars, we have that huge potential with that culinary adaptation, the co-creation and the fusion applications for these products, whether it's in a plant-based meat or dairy products with different Asian flavor profiles, whether it's in snack formats, and a huge potential for the innovation for these applications, whether it's a prototype or co-development, and there's potential for new IP and new investment for these applications as we drive the sales of these products, whether it's an ingredient or a CPG product in Asia Pacific marketplace, because food is so global and people are like trying different flavors and different products. Some of the applications can be really appealing to the region. So that's another potential that why the Canadian food innovations can be impactful in the Asia Pacific region. And the last one is primarily the supply chain reliability on the long-term partnerships and presence in the region. Canada has a long-standing relationship, especially in terms of commodities in the region. And now more and more we are developing partnerships through Protein Industries Canada, Food Center with Nurasa, and all these different new partnerships through organizations or through companies. People keep talking to each other, developing new solutions and innovation, manufacturing or co-development partnerships for the region. And it's a really dynamic market that we can provide this whole stable ingredient manufacturing capacity for the region, as well as commodity capacity over the last several decades. And these partnerships can drive more and more sales for the opportunities in the region. So with that, I like to stop here. And again, my contact is here. These slides will be available to the participants. If you like to reach us, we'll be glad to get back to you and answer your questions, especially as you get prepared and if you prepare myself for this Asia Pacific marketplace from Canada to the region with these applications. And again, thanks very much for the invitation, James.
Thank you, Mehmet. And Laurent, are you starting us off with Nurasa?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks, James. Thanks, Mehmet, for the presentation. It is quite inspiring, what you were saying, Mehmet, and to see the focus on differentiation and innovation that is happening in Canada. And I can only second the comment you made on the complementarity of what you're doing at the food center and what Nurasa is doing in Singapore. And there's no surprise we're working well together. We signed an MOU earlier this year to be very complementary. But so let me take you through what Nurasa does and how we will deploy this program. So I'm Laurent Brigel, and I'm joined here by my colleague Suki, and we will walk you through the Asia Go-to-Market program. So who is Nurasa? Because I assume most of you not necessarily heard of who we are. We are an innovation and commercialization partner. And we are fully focused on accelerating the adoption of affordable, appealing, and better for you food here in Asia. And we were created in 2021 by Temasek, which is a Singapore government-linked global investment firm. They're managing, I think, more than $400 billion. And they have been historically a very strong supporter of sustainable food. And the mission of Nurasa, where we were created, is really to help global food and ingredient companies like you in Canada to enter and thrive in the Asian market. We offer deep market and consumer insights, rapid market validation, and hands-on support all the way from prototyping to launch of products. And we'll take you over all that translate into this particular program. So why Singapore, and why is it so important if you want to conquer Asia? Why is it the gateway to Asia markets? It is recognized as such, and it is really one of the top innovation hub for food in the world. And a few facts to share. The first one is that Singapore was the first country in the world to approve the commercial sale of lab-grown meat in 2020. I believe that was quite a few years ahead of any other country. Now there's maybe 2 or 3 countries in the world that authorize the sale of such products. So really very forward-looking support and legislation for innovation. And I read somewhere it's the highest concentration of food innovation center in Asia. Don't quote me on that. I haven't counted them, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. There's so many innovation happening here. And as was mentioning, the regulatory framework and the central position that Singapore is, all the food companies of the region are basically based here, and that's where they test their products. That's where they develop the product before launching in the broader market. This is where the ecosystem is, and we see ourselves as the gateway to that ecosystem. So, continuing on Nurasa's particular expertise and taking you through some examples here. So what is unique is the end-to-end commercialization expertise that we have and that we're bringing to our partners. We don't just advise, we roll up our sleeve and we get the product launched in Asia. I'll give you just a couple of examples. So Q Protein is a product we develop with a local food company. It's a hybrid meat and plant-based product, and it took us 4 months from the ideas to having a soft launch of the product. So that gives you an idea of the speed at which we can bring a product to market. And it's so soft launch means it was out there and exchange with partner, and 2-3 months later, it's on the shelf now in Singapore. Another example of things we do is we do challenges. We work with MNCs to do open innovation, and we ran an innovation challenge last year called the Sweet Swap Challenge, which has it's in the name. It's about reducing sugar content, and the winner of that challenge, Co & Co, which is a chocolate. We help them to get on the shelf in Singapore. So now you can find them relatively easily in Singapore. And we also introduce them to Google, and they've added it to their basically employees' pantry, and the volumes have been increasing significantly. So that's kind of some of the very recent and examples we're quite proud of the speed at which we can create that traction. And before Suki takes you through the details of the program and a little bit on the Asia market, I just wanted to highlight the strengths of the team here. It's through that key team that you see here on the slide, we bring a broad spectrum of expertise from all across the food and ag value chain. with experience ranging from sourcing to consumer insights and consumer sales. And through the program, you'll have access to the full range of capabilities to assess opportunities and market, to launch and scale your product successfully in Asia. So Suki, all yours.
Yes, thanks, Lohan. Really nice to see all of you here, and keen to hear more also about what your perspective is and what you're curious about for your Asia growth. And I'm sure because you're here, that means that one way or another, you're already interested in the space. But let me take you through a few high-level facts about why Asia is, in fact, a very exciting market. So we all know that Asia is huge, right? So home to about 60% of all of our population. In about a decade, we'll have more than 1 billion households in the middle class, or population in the middle class. And also it is one of the largest food spending market in the world, reaching 4 trillion by 2030. But it's not just about the size, it's really, the story is about the growth. So on the right-hand side, you see two key charts. One is talking about the protein demand and how that is growing. You can see pretty much a lot of the mature markets kind of growing very slowly or stagnating, with different parts of Asia that's growing a couple times more, from 2.5, 6%, even up to 10% in protein demand. And at the same time, what consumers need is also changing. So Asia is also one of the fastest aging populations in the world. And whenever we have a changing demographic, that presents a lot of opportunity for product innovation to better meet what the consumers want in their diets. So the story for Asia, again, is not just about capturing and competing in this market, but about capturing that white space and that new growth where no one else is there yet. And I'm not sure whether you have been to Asia before. Probably many of you have traveled to many parts of the world. But I do think that for myself, having lived in both the UK, and North America, as well as back here growing up in Asia, I think there are very significant differences in the consumer behavior. And the key to success for both food and ingredient companies is really understanding and adapting your offerings to the Asia needs. So how we eat is different. Take protein as an example. In Asia, it's really kind of as part of a set of dishes where we eat with our main carbohydrate. Whereas in the West, you see protein often as a big part of the center of the plate. So the application of protein itself is very different. Take snacking as an example as well. When you think about snacking, what comes to your mind? Would it be bars? Would it be chips, popcorns, chocolates? In Asia, that could even be a beverage with bubble tea as a very interesting example. And I think Lohan really loves the example also of instant noodles being a part of what we define as snacking as well. What we like, not just how we eat, is different. Very interesting story about texture. Actually, for Texture Ingredient Company, a huge success story actually comes from being able to adapt their texturizing solution to develop a very good chewy mochi texture. And this kind of texture is actually unique and very popular in Asia, whereas in the West, you might see a lot more on the crumbly, crispy, crunchy kind of texture. In Asia, we like soft, fluffy, chewy stuff. Taste as well, that's a very nuanced one. How spicy is your food? And oftentimes when you have a dessert, a compliment from a consumer is, oh, it's not too sweet. So the level of sweetness, the level of spice, all of this plays a difference in how much consumers will end up liking the application of the product. Even if you're an ingredient company, that's very important as well. And lastly, how we buy and where we buy is also very different. We eat out a lot more. Convenience and buying from convenience store is a lot more popular. If you go to Japan, pretty much every corner, every street has a multiple convenience stores where you can walk in and get a full meal. And where we dine in terms of food courts versus fast food, that's also drastically different. So that's a quick snapshot of how unique Asia is. But where do we start? Of course, it's a very diverse market. It's huge. It's fragmented. It's not necessarily the easiest place to be to grow your business. And that's exactly why we designed this program together with PIC, because we believe that with insights, with the right market access, and with the capability, what we really want to do for you is to de-risk that initial market entry step. So let me go into a bit more about the program and how that achieves this. So our program covers 8 key markets in Asia. You have the growth markets with a big focus on Southeast Asia, and we're also covering China as well. And the more mature markets where there is very interesting opportunities, especially in the nutrition and better for you space, would be Japan and Singapore. We have a broad APAC coverage. These ones are a short list of what we think will be the most interesting focus for this particular program. And zooming in to how the program looks like, there are 3 modules to the program: market assessment, module 1, market assessment plus, so an expanded version, module 2, and launch preparation in module 3. So module 1 and 2 is pretty much a high-level market scan to help you understand where your ingredient fits, what kind of market need it serves, and how is it positioned in the market. Whereas module 3 is the hands-on module where we actually do take your ingredient or your product, do prototyping, consumer and customer feedback, adapting that to this part of the world. And if we think that it's a promising one, we also would develop a high-level launch plan to get you ready for the next phase as well. So timeline-wise, there's also a slight difference. Module 1 is a 1-month program, 2 to 3 months for module 2, and 3 to 5 months for module 3. This program, as you may have already read about on the website, is 75% of the project cost is covered by PIC. So we do think that it is a very great opportunity for PIC members and Canadian companies to tap into PIC as a resource to de-risk your journey into Asia. Now, if you're thinking which one should I go for, that's what we'll go into now. Module 1 is where we tell you how your ingredient is relevant to the customers. We'll map out key products and applications in your chosen market, and it ends with a go, no-go recommendation. So if you're still dipping your toes in and figuring out whether it's a right fit for you, this is the module. Module 2, as mentioned, is an expanded version of Module 1 for 3 markets. Additionally, it also includes a list of key partners and customers where you can start your market entry next step. So if you want a slightly more comparative view, a slightly more macro view across several markets, Module 2 is the right one. And Module 3, finally, is basically where you already have an idea of what ingredient and application you want to start with in terms of your Asia entry, and which market you want to go to. That's where we can then go into much more specific hands-on work to adapt the application. At the end of Module 3, you'll get formulations and recipes that you can use for your customer development in Asia. So all of this are really quick de-risking steps. Point I will mention for this program is that these are not sequential modules. You can do them individually, at the same time, they are stackable and repeatable. So for example, you could start with module 1 or module 2 to figure out how you want to enter, and then go into module 3 to develop the application for those chosen markets and chosen categories. Module 1 and 2 are very much complementary to module 3. Another aspect to consider is that we focus on one specific ingredient or one specific product and application in each project. So if you have a business where you might want to look at 2 or 3 ingredients or products to start with, you could also repeat or do the same module twice, 3 times for each of those ingredients and products. So that's an overview of the program, and I'll hand over to Lara from PIC to talk more about how to apply.
Thank you, Suki. So hopefully Suki convinced everyone to go forward and apply. So I will walk you through just the more logistics of how to go forward if you are interested. So I'll talk about the overall process, and then I'll jump to what we're looking for in the actual application form. So this starts with a very simple application form. I see some folks in the call that have done projects with us before. This is very different from our normal program application. So please stay with me as I walk you through this one. It is very straightforward. On our website, there is an eligibility form. It's a Microsoft Forms, fairly straightforward, fairly simple, where you're basically going to tell us a little bit more about which modules are interested, your ingredients, products, and why is Asia a region that you're interested in. You have to follow up the form with some documentation that's requested. That's all noted in the form, but please make sure that you do send those product specifications afterwards, because that is what is considered a full application for this program. If you want to have a call with, PIC, Nurasa, or both of us to discuss the modules in a little bit more detail, or just your challenges or your project idea, we are available to do a pre-application intro call. So please do reach out to us, and we can share the slides that you're seeing here today. So if you want to look at this information, or again, want to discuss any specific slides with us. So just note that is a possibility. After the forms are submitted and the documents are submitted, PIC and Nurasa are going to do a jointly review of that. We're going to be looking at what is the fit of the application, and obviously we do have limited spots, so we are going to be looking at the ones that are just a bigger fit, or just have a more potential of success. So if you are interested, I would very much recommend applying soon, because we do have limited spots. After the internal review, if that moves ahead, we are going to have, at this point, is not an optional call anymore. It's a mandatory call. I'll say it, with PIC, Nurasa, and your company to discuss project scope, and then to make sure that we're all aligned with what module it is that you're going for. And then we'll go to a formal decision. So that's where PIC would inform you that your company is going ahead with whichever module was agreed upon in that pre-screening call. And then the contracting starts between client and Nurasa. So the contracting in this case is with Nurasa. And then that's your final green light, and the project can start to get executed, and you'll be in contact with Nurasa constantly, trying to achieve the results that were outlined in that pre-screening call. So that's the process as a whole. We are accepting applications until October 15th, so you have just almost 2 months to submit that. And now I'll go into what is it that we're looking for in terms of the content and the information from your company. The form starts with a very straightforward, just company information, and then we jump to the actual first formal section, which is the program module interest. So here, you're just telling us which module you're interested in, It can be that our conversations evolve and that we perhaps are suggesting a different module than the one that you previously thought, but we're very open to discussing that with the company. So again, I guess take those pre-intro calls or calls to your advantage to work with us as to what is the best fit for your company and what is going to solve your challenges more. But here we're just really grasping interest as to which module you're interested in. And here is also your first introduction to what products and what ingredients you want to study as part of this project. So as Suki said, each module should be linked to one specific product or one specific ingredient. So here you can tell us, I think, I have a meat analog that's a fit for perhaps module 1, and I have, a pea protein isolate that's perhaps a fit for module 3. So please make sure that you're being specific when you mention those products and ingredients. Section 2, a little bit more elaborate. So here's when we really get into the detail of your ingredients and products. So here we're trying to understand, is your product or ingredient commercial? How much are you producing of it? What are your sales? What applications have you trialed it in? So this is obviously a little bit more fitting for the ingredients section, but is it beverages? Is it snacks? Is it meat analogs? Really us having an understanding of what are the potential products that we could work with or that Nurasa could help you work with for those ingredients. And then if it's a product, what is the market? Has it worked? Has it not worked? And again, what is the value proposition? What is this ingredient and product bringing to the market? And then, really, we're trying to understand what differentiates that from other ingredients that are out there in the market. This is the section where it will prompt you to submit those extra documents to us as soon as you finish the form. So that is all outlined in the form. But again, our email is there. It's the project's email from Protein Industries, and I'm the one monitoring that inbox. So I will be in touch with you if you don't send those documents, but please make sure that you try to as soon as you finish sending the form. And then we go to section 3, which is pretty much trying to understand what's the strategic fit, how ready are you to get into the Asian market? So here we're trying to understand your timing. When is it that you plan or want to enter the market? Have you tried it before? Have you looked at specific countries? Suki walked a little bit through some of the countries that are of interest or are encompassed in this program. And so which ones have you looked into? What have been your challenges? So this is really having us understand how is it that we can help you. And again, that's going back to the company or your challenges fitting what is it that Nurasa and this program can offer so that we can do our best to make it very productive for you and then therefore for our program. So that's the content. So I guess just as a wrap up and as a reminder, and I will share the link here as soon as I finish speaking. This is what our page looks like. If you haven't seen it yet, there's that little box or rectangular green box at the end. That's where you'll get access to the form where you'll see all of these questions that I was talking about. October 15th is the deadline. We have 2 months, so that's plenty of time to get in contact with us and have those intro calls if you need to have that conversation. And if you're ready to apply, I would say dive right in and give as much detail as you can on products, ingredients, and your previous experience with the Asian market so that we can start assessing those applications as soon as possible. So I think I'll pass it on to James, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Suki and Laurent, for those, and Mehmet for those presentations. We'll jump into the Q&A part of the information session now. There is a chat function and a Q&A function, and I'll be watching both of those for your questions. So if you've got something top of mind, definitely enter that in. And in the meantime, we've got a couple loaded in already. Thank you. Ricardo asks, regarding product formulation, could the suitability of ingredients and products for APAC's diverse consumer demographic be addressed as part of this program with the support of Nurasa's Food Tech Lab? Nurasa, maybe I'll direct that question to you.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. So that's a great question. And in fact, that's probably the top thing that we try to solve with the program, which is adapting ingredients and formulations to Asia, especially if you have an ingredient launch in the market, or a product launched in the market already, and you're very clear that that's the one that you want to think of how to adapt to Asia, module 3 would be the best module to help you out there.
Thank you for that. Our next question is from Chris. There was reference made to key partners or customers in module 2. He's looking for a sense of what commercial launch looks like. Do key partners include importers and distributors, or does this program align Canadian B2Bs with an exclusive distributor relationship with Nurasa or Temasek? What does that partnership model look like?
Yep. I'll go into this one as well. So the partners that we included in module 2 is not limited to a specific part of the value chain. So it could pretty much be a more overview of who are all the key partners along the value chain that we think would really enable your success. And that list, would not be restrictive in that sense. And it also highly depends on which market we are zooming in on, because the market structure, the supply chain could look really different based on the specific market within Asia. And then the second question, Lon, I see you unmuted, so please feel free to jump in whenever as well.
I can take the second part if you want us to.
Go ahead.
So the question is that if this program kind of include an exclusive distributor relationship with Nurasa, and it doesn't. I think this is an advisory relationship. We point you in the right direction, and we'll offer our help for the next step, obviously, because Nurasa does this kind of things. We do help to distribute. We do help setting up solutions, applications, finding you the right partner. We can develop formulation and distribute it, and there's a lot of way we can structure that, but this would be a follow-up if you're excited about the potential and you need further help after that. So there's no handcuff, if you want, as part of this program.
Yes, and just to add on to that, we do want this the collaboration with PIC and with the members to be beyond the duration of this particular program, definitely. So one thing that we would love to see is that we find some really interesting ingredients from you that really fits the market, and we are able to help. So if we do choose to work together, then that would also be a separate commercial relationship, commercial partnership that we can formalize after the program as well.
Thank you both for that. I see that Ricardo's added another question too, but I just had one maybe top of mind to kind of build off of this one. Laurent, Suki, you kind of built a bit of the ecosystem, the network around Nurasa. Maybe can you add a little bit more detail around that network, maybe, and help the audience understand a bit more where some of those partners could be in different market channels, food service as well as retail, and B2B, as well as maybe some more higher end food service categories, that sort of thing. I guess kind of building off the diverse scope of the market opportunities that are in the region.
Yeah, so as Nurasa, we're really an ecosystem aggregator. So we work with everyone in the supply chain. We have very strong relationship with food services companies. So to help them either source end product to incorporate in their menus, but also co-design a particular product. We do, as I was mentioning earlier, work directly with food companies to translate consumer needs into new product. We worked with ingredient company to create the ingredient that is required for this product. So it really depends through the angle. So we see ourselves as that gateway I was mentioning earlier. The ecosystem is pretty wide. We were showing some logo earlier, but we have most MNCs work with us in Singapore in one way or another, being from open innovation to distribution. But we work a lot also, and this is where it is probably most of interest to people in this call, with local SMEs, food companies, food solution ingredient solution companies that are on the lookout for partners for sourcing, for developing new products. And that's when we're talking about identifying partners, that could be one like co-manufacturing at destination, because the product goes very well in a certain application, and then there could be a very interesting project as a result of that. So it's not just being a distributor. It's really identifying who to work with to develop a solution and bring something new to the market. And of course, distribution is part of it, but it's only a part.
Thanks for that. Another question from Ricardo. Does Module 1 also look at manufacturing capabilities in the Asia-Pacific region, or is the focus mainly around an exporting-importing relationship?
I'll jump in here. Module 1 is more focused on the demand side and how your ingredient fits into the consumer and customer needs in this part of the world. But Module 2, as part of the expanded market assessment, does include a high-level scan of the potential partners, including manufacturing partners, depending on where you sit on the value chain, that could enable your entry into Asia. Our understanding is for PIC, a big part of the objective is to create value in Canada through the value added, through the processing as well. So I'll let James, if you have any additional points to add here, feel free to let us know. But in terms of value chain mapping, that is covered under Module 2.
Thanks, Suki. Yeah, to echo the value chain mapping part of Module 2, looking at manufacturing capabilities in the Asia Pacific is not the primary focus of the objective of this program, but hoping that if you go through the Module 2, then the insights and the understanding that you're able to collect can help you inform your business model, which at our core we're looking to help with. But we'll leave it at that. So I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat or in the Q&A. Maybe I'll give the speakers an opportunity if there's any other thoughts that they want to share, while we give the audience a moment to populate any outstanding questions. Go ahead, Suki.
Yeah, so just want to say that while we were collecting some of those questions, I've also been looking at who's in the audience today and what your companies do. And I do think that there's so many interesting companies here beyond proteins, but also on the upcycling side, the co-products, the fibers, etc. And I think they all fit into a very nice sustainability and a very nice nutrition story that is very much relevant for Asia. So I'm just looking forward to hear more in detail about each of you.
Thank you for that. I'm not seeing any additional questions populating, so I think we'll wrap it up for there. Thank you very much to all the speakers today for investing time in raising awareness of the program and helping to answer questions and getting this information in front of industry. Much appreciated. And with that, we'll conclude the information session. So thank you everyone for attending and listening and asking questions. And thank you a third time for the speakers and your time today. Have a great day.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.